Shot 5, The Sea of Tears. This is the last shot from the Alice in Wonderland series. It's called The Sea of Tears. Why the Sea of Tears? Well, in the book, she cries so many tears that she creates a sea. So that inspired this shot. Many of my shots are backed by strong narrative, where I really like to twist things and make people think a little bit more about them. So a very strong narrative here. It was shot over the 2 days in the Lake District, and it's a very carefully scouted location. Apart from, it didn't work. The primary location we were going to use was out in Morecambe Bay, and the tide was simply in the wrong place and it wasn't wet enough. So we had to step in from the beach, and we found these lovely pools which is flooded by the sea, and you're getting trees in the background as well. So I decided to shoot in this area. There were many problems here, and I had to actually go in the water in waders, so I could line this tree, this little piece of land where Anna's going to stand on, all in a perfect line. And I kept standing in the mud and it was sinking. So we had to spend about half an hour putting big rocks in the water, so I had something to stand on and I didn't sink. Now, I'm going to show you one of my favourite tricks. You can see I've got the perfect reflection of Alice. And you know what? It's not Photoshop. Now, how I achieved that was getting the camera very low to the water. Try it yourself. Any puddles, any rivers, anything. The lower you get the camera to the water, the more perfect reflection you get. Now that can be a little bit risky. Let's be honest, we've all spent a lot of money on our cameras. Now I was using a Hasselblad H1 with a P25 back and a 50mm lens. That's a medium wide angle lens. And you know what? It didn't get wet. Now I couldn't bend over and get my face right on the water because of the angle I was at. So what I did was use an old trick that I used to use in my photojournalistic days. And it's one of my best tips. I strongly recommend you all try it out. I just put my hand under the base of the camera and I lowered it onto the water. And as soon as the hairs on the back of your hand feel the meniscus on the water, you know that you can't take it any further. And you just come up by about 1 centimetre, ½ an inch, and you know that you're as low as you can go. And you then shoot, see what you're getting, shoot again, see what you're getting, shoot, see what you're getting. And that's how I got this shot. I wasn't even looking through the camera. So some really good field craft at work here to get the camera close to the water. It's a great trick. So now the lighting. One part of the lighting here is very simple indeed. The other part is really quite tricky, but that is what makes this picture very special. The main light is a small Chimera softbox, about so far across, with the front screen out to give a harder look to it. I frequently pull the front screen out of my softbox to give this look. So we have her lit in a relatively stark way, but it's still nicely controlled, just the way I wanted it to look. What about the tree? I put an Elinchron Ranger, same as the front light, Elinchron Ranger again, under the tree pointing upwards, and it's triggered by a pocket wizard. Now the only problem we had was it wasn't triggering very well because the pocket wizard receiver was very close to the ground. So to get the Elinchron Ranger to trigger with a pocket wizard at this range, and it's a good distance, it's like kind of more than 100 yards over water, over wet grass, and all of these things will soak up your radio signal. What I did was I put the pocket wizard on a light stand separately behind the wall under the tree. So the higher I'm taking it away from the ground, the better likelihood I have of a great radio signal. As you can see from the raw, it was very successful. And the only part of retouching we had to do was a little bit of spill back from the light that's lighting the tree and the rocks that we put behind it to try and shield it, which was partway successful and not totally. So we've got the key light here coming in from the side. Now, it was in a really precarious position, and what we also did was put it on a boom to put it over the water so I can get the exact angle that I wanted with that light. So where the light was, there was nowhere to put it. So we put it over the water with a boom. The other one, as I say, was buried beneath the rocks at the back here. Overall exposure, we're on the Hasselblad H1 with a P25 back, the 50mm lens, and we're shooting at a 60th of a second at f8. This is 1 to 1.5 stops below ambient. This enables me to have my lovely dark sky, and I'm in control of the lighting. So I'm underexposing the background by about 1 to 1.5 f-stops, and I'm using the shutter speed to achieve that effect. I'm using it as a throttle. I'm very pleased with it because it shows with a little bit of ingenuity and some good technique with my hand on the water, and also with the Elinchron Ranger triggered by the Pocket Wizard at a very long range. I've picked this tree out and it looks fantastic. Gets lots of three-dimensionality in there. And frequently I'm picked up by people saying, oh yeah, how did you do the Photoshop? And actually there isn't any, just to tidy up the light under the tree, that's all. This photograph's important to me because it shows what you can achieve if you just put a little bit of thought into a situation. You can overcome great problems. So the beach that we were going to use, I got the tides wrong, there was no water there. So we came up with this B location very quickly. Now, when it comes to communication with a model, I didn't want an over-sad face. Well, basically, I felt that Anna didn't give me a fantastic sad face. So I wanted to go for a bit of arrogance, a little bit of poise. And this is what Anna came up with, and I'm very pleased with it. Once again, it's about really good communication. And it's helped as well with this amazing, amazing outfit by fashion designer Kirsty Marie. Nobody is going to give you your dream assignment. Remember that. I had to go out and look for a fashion designer to work with, and we came up with this series together. So, you know, no one's going to necessarily give you this job. And if you want to shoot something like this, you've got to get off your backside and just come up with something that works. You know, it's either this or watch television. I know what I'd sooner do. If you've enjoyed this and if you found it useful, check the others out in the series. I've got loads of interesting stories and facts that will really help you with your photography.